again for another week. This week we've got first grade coach Jarrod Costello joining us, and as usual, Johnny Pett. So we're going to have a chat to Jarrod first, and then we're going to get into the usual review and preview and whatever else we've got. Welcome, boys.
Mark,
John. You made the big time, Jacko, eh?
Yeah. That's it.
Number one podcast in the local league, mate.
Bigger than Hollywood.
So how are you, Jacko?
Good, Mark, and yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Doing well?
Yes, thank you.
He's had a haircut.
I have.
Yeah, all four
Every week, Tuesday's haircut day. We'll just probably have a chat to you about the season so far. It's halfway through, I think, round 6 this week.
Yep, yeah.
Looking good.
Yeah, halfway through, can't believe it. Well, next week after the Berkeley game, we'll be halfway through. But yeah, it's been a pretty good start to the season so far for the club, really. Like all three grades are going well and sort of sitting up near the top of the ladder, which is good. We've got a goal to win the club championship, so yeah, we're halfway sort of through the season. If we can keep stringing some wins together, all three grades will be on our way to doing that, I think.
He's second at the moment, I think, in the club championship. If you win this weekend, West Leiden, that will put you.
Yeah, well, that's another incentive. Apart from trying to win the three grades, it's another incentive, isn't it? So yeah, it should be good.
A few players, like your forward pack and that this year, very strong.
Yeah, good forward pack this year. A lot of depth as well, so a reserve grade forward pack's really strong. Not first grade, so it's not a huge pack, but they're good players and they're fit and they know how to sort of control, play the ball speed, and they know how to get play the ball speed and all those sort of things. So yeah, really strong across both grades in the forwards.
Yeah, and then you've got people like Walshy just running the show.
Yeah, he's going really well this year, isn't he, Walsh? He's probably he's been fantastic.
Look, he's been, for me, the standout of your side so far. Early rounds, I really liked Sironen and Gallagher out there on the fringes, but just what Walsh brought to the team this year, like that combination last year was phenomenal they had in the halves, and you settled on that 6 and 7 last year with Payne. But this year, him and Fletch working together, it's getting better and better each week. But Walsh he controls everything, and his running game's what impressed me so much.
He's running the ball a bit more this year, which is good. So no, he's going really well, Walsh. So he's trained really well too. He's been great.
3 tries on the weekend, Walsh?
3 tries, yeah. And his birthday Sunday too. So.
He's got to be up there with the leading point scorer too, I would have think. Walshy after that, 3 tries. You missed another.
Yeah, he's kicked goals too the last few weeks.
He's a good goal kicker.
Yeah.
And you got a backup with Gal there too. If you need him. What about Jolie Johnson as usual?
Yeah, he's going well too, isn't he? The skipper. So he's had a great start to the year. They're really fortunate to have, like, obviously Jono as sort of the number 9, and then you've got guys like Cooper, Purcell, and Jared Whitty when he comes back from injury, and Ryan Fletcher, the 6, he's actually a 9 as well.
Connor Mulheason.
Joy Richards and Reggie, so we've got a heap, but Jono's going really well.
Is Jono, there's been a few rumours and everything, this could be his last season. I don't know if it is true or not, but you look at a replacement because Jono's been there for so long in that number 9, and you look for a replacement for him for the next few years, and it's healthy for all. There's a lot of the good number 9s just wanting to play first grade. Yeah,
those guys we just mentioned, they're all really good players. They could all play first grade. Well, they're all first graders, and Joel was a reserve grade player of the year last year. Connor played first grade on the weekend and was really good. So yeah, we're lucky. If it is Jono's last year, I'm not sure if it is or isn't, but if it is, we'll hopefully we get one of those guys step into the fold.
The last 2 weeks we've spoken about the depth in the club, like right through into the juniors, and I'm just looking at the scores from last week. Under 18, 60-0. Like, there's some good kids in there as well.
Yeah, there's some great kids in there. Brent's doing a really good job with those guys. They had a disappointing loss the week before, and they responded really well on the weekend. Any side of the nil's a great achievement. So they've got a great side. And so Brent the last few years has done a fantastic job.
And again, with your Reggie's, half the Reggie's teams played first grade, pretty much. And
most of that
Reggie's
pack would be in first grade at most other clubs, really. At least a few of them.
A lot of them played in the grand final last year, didn't they?
They did.
Or in that semi-final team, guys like Riley Lord, Luke Shields.
Yeah, Ethan George,
yeah. And you've even got a young Benny Fulton.
Yeah, Benny
in the mix somewhere. Like, he's been up in the 20 system with the Dragons, so the depth just keeps on going. It's something me and Wilco have harped on for weeks now. It is the best depth in the competition by far.
Yeah, it's a very good reserve grade pack.
suppose it's a good position to be in as a coach.
Yeah, it is.
Knowing you've got that behind you, but it also must give you a couple of headaches come selection time when you've got to pick a side.
Yep, it sure does. So it's a good position for the club, and it's just about making sure that when you are picking the sides, or I'd sort of talk to other people as well, like me and Aaron, Couchy, and Brent and Ozzy from time to time, talk about different things, make sure we're sort of putting the best side out in the paddock to represent the club.
Has it been good with Aaron and Munga? He's been there for a while, but now Aaron and Couchy coming in, like you've really got sort of a good core behind you to help him with decisions like that?
Yeah, it's been good. Like even I've been sort of spoilt really. So the first year I did, I think the reserve grade coach was Danny, who's been a great support to myself. Then there was Benny Lynn was in the 18s, who was also unreal. And then this year, as you said, with Couchy and Aaron coming along, it's been good to bounce some ideas off those guys as well.
Yeah, good. On to this week's game, mate. This is top of the table.
Yeah.
Can we win?
Yeah, of course we can win. Yeah, we'll have to play really well to win. They're a good side, West, so we know we have to play really well. But we're confident if we do play well and sort of make sure that we're getting through our sets and leaving the ball in their try line as much as we can, not giving them field position, and being good in defence, we're confident we can win. That's
one thing I have noticed. There's minimal mistakes in the first grade team at the moment. Like, yeah, you have the odd one here and there, but they seem to complete sets of 6 and good kicking. Walshy's got a really good sort of general kicking game.
Yeah, Walshy's kicked really well. We've sort of got like a bit of a goal that we try to complete 80% both halves. So we haven't actually done that this year. We haven't completed 80% in both halves in the game this year. That last week was 84 and 76 or something like that. So overall, we're about 80%. But if we can sort of complete it 80% and let Walshy sort of finish the sets off, leaving the ball in the corner on the try line, it goes a long way.
This weekend would be good for 80.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know it.
This is the one you want to do.
Yeah, boys, challenge. Yeah, no, would. Yeah, we'll have to because they're like West. They've got a heap of strike with their sort of centres and fullback. They're really good players. They can score points. So if you give them field position, you're going to chase your tail. If you're making them come out of their own end, they can still hurt you, but they're a lesser chance of hurting you, with points.
Are they the danger? The centres and the fullback?
Yeah, I think so. Tony Pello's a fullback. It's his brother is one centre and Mitch Porter's the other one. He's usually right up there, Mitch Porter, in the point scoring sort of thing. So they've got a really good side.
Zach Green's back too.
Zach Green's back, yeah. So he'll be good for them. He's been at, I think he was at Mounties.
Mounties, yeah. Kieran Rankmore will come into that side this week as well for West.
Yeah.
He played reserve grade last week for West, and
he
just outmuscled them.
Hopefully Greeny might put a few out in the full this week, like the grand final.
He'll get some support from the old boys still if he does.
Kick pressure from Siro.
Yeah. Go back to round 1, Jack.
Morris.
Go back to round 1 and you just talked about, you missed the jump that day against Collies. Is that something that you spoke about after that? Because you come out in week 3 against Corrimal, and that first set against Corrimal was absolutely 5-star. He just went 60 metres down the paddock while she put a good kick into the in goal and he's forced a line drop out. And it just seems every game since that, he's just come out absolutely on song.
Yeah, we started well. We didn't start all that well last week against Helensburgh, but we scored first. We sort of made a couple of errors, coming out of trouble. Yeah, we did speak about it after the Collies game. We weren't great at the start there, but they were really good too. Collies, they really stuck it to us. So it is the starts are something we're sort of focused on for sure. Yeah.
2 out of this side, you're going to name 1 to 17. Who can you look for to really lead this pack this weekend? You keep relying on Ciro to go forward and Gal out wide. Is there someone else that Mick Morris does 50 tackles a game? Is there someone off the bench that's going to shine this week against this top of the table clash?
Probably a few guys. I think Jack Noble's been really good. He's been outstanding. So Jack Noble, Dodgy, and Rusco and Cooper Purcell hopefully will be back this week. They're probably 4 guys outside of the blokes you mentioned that we're looking forward to big games.
Yeah. Rusco played a lot of minutes last week.
Yeah, he did. He played a lot of minutes, and when you look at the stats, he was really busy as well. So he's still going really well, Rusco.
I was in the sheds there with the juniors last Saturday. I was having a look on we got up in the sheds there, the stats of every player, and I couldn't believe the numbers Mick Morris does. I know we joke about it each week saying he does 50, 60 tackles, but he literally does, if you count them.
Yeah.
He's
he
just
made
an absolute
37
workhorse.
tackles in the first half against Dapto, and we're leading 18-6. So we've obviously had a bit of ball, and he still found 37 tackles. Against Corrimal, it was the same thing. It was around high 20s he made in the first half. 30-0.
I've said it before, he's like Dale Finucane, like for the Storm, isn't he?
Yeah.
He just gets his job done for the whole 80 minutes. Nothing flashy, but he just gets it done week in, week out. He's one of those guys you just can rely on as a coach to get that done.
Yeah, he's great. And why you say he's not flashy, some of the... when I watch it, I see it flashy.
Yeah.
He's really good, like wrestling and...
Yeah.
He's
Just
the way
those
he
little
carries the
1%.
footy, he's outstanding. Kick pressure, well, him and Ciro are probably the best in our side of putting on kick pressure. They do it legally, there's nothing cheap about it. They just know how to get there and how to do it properly.
Is this weekend going to be the biggest test so far?
Yeah, I think for sure. Quite easily, I think. Yeah. Easily the biggest of the season so far.
It just seems that through all Western collies at the moment, and the rest, as Johnny said a couple of weeks ago, there's sort of a divide. I mean, Corrimal hanging in there with what they've got and whatever, but it just seems like these three teams are very close.
Yeah, it is. There's not too much between either sides you mentioned. You sort of feel for Corrimal, they've had a few injuries, but if they get those guys back, or I think some of them are coming back, they all are, but if they get a few of them back, they'll trouble some sides. They've got enough to worry sides with the ball and that as well. So that was pretty physical, the start of that game against them.
It'll be interesting the for and against this week either way it goes, because you beat Collies by 2 in round 1. West only beat Collies by 1 point 2 weeks ago. So this clash this week, it's gonna matter a lot down that point end of the season, because you want to finish 1 and 2, don't you?
Yeah, you do for sure. Yeah.
This could be like maybe guarantee that 1 or 2 like this early in the season. Well, it's halfway. But
I reckon Walshy should start tonight, getting doing goal kicking practice or field goal practice, because I reckon it's going to go the whole way.
Yeah, well,
Right. It's going to go the whole way this 80 minutes, and
they've got a few exponents to the field goals. Zach
Green is a machine.
Rodriguez can kick them, so they've got a few. It's probably not a bad tip there, Johnny. I'll get Walsh into it.
Walshy. On one more on your fullback for this year, Blake.
Yep.
They call him Lee's brother at training, I'm hearing.
I call him Lee Higgins. The other day I called him Blake Phillips in the pre-game. Sorry, Blake.
I've been impressed the last couple of weeks how he's just coming. He's doing what Lee was doing for us last year on the back end of that halves combination and just going out the back. And he's laid a couple of good tries on for Hayden Crosland this season. Yeah. I think the more weeks go on in that combination between Walsh, Fletcher and him, it's getting better and better and better.
And Blake's he's not a fullback naturally. He plays in the halves usually. We're sort of trying him there with Lee going. And he works pretty hard. We'll do a bit of video with him and trying to get his positional play right out the back of those plays. And he's working hard and he's having a good start in the season.
The last 2 weeks I've noticed it.
Yeah.
I think Crozzo scored a try in every game, if not 2.
He's going well too, Crozzo.
Yeah, out there on the wing.
Yep.
He seems to get a lot of tries. And it's that right side. Usually it's the left side that the attack is.
You and me could score tries outside Callum Tower. Yeah. Seriously, how good is he?
Jay Gallagher's inside.
Yeah, it's no offence to Hayden, but he's scoring good tries. But when you're playing outside those 2 guys, it must make his job so much easier.
Yeah. He's been great, Crozzo. He plays all different positions for us, and sometimes last year was a bit of a running joke with him. He'd turn up on Tuesday, where are you going to play? Which position am I going to play this week? Are you fullback? You're in the centres, you're on the wing. I think he played in the halves one game last year as well, so yeah, he's been great.
You have got a good balance right across, and now with Dargan in the centres too. I didn't mind who was it, Dodgy out there. I thought he went all right, but Dargan sort of fitted really well there. Yeah, is he a centre?
He's a centre, yes. He played with Mick and Walshy and Jono at Mounties.
Yep, okay.
And then he had a knee operation. I think it was an ACL about 18 months ago. He hasn't played. This when he came back and played against Corrimal. That was his first game in nearly a couple of years.
He's going really good. Game back for a couple of years.
He's a good guy. Really good guy. And it just allows us to use Dodgy through the middle, because we always wanted to use Dodgy through the middle with his sort of footwork and his bump and all that. But he did a job for the team, playing out in the centres for a little bit.
How many of these guys from in town are you going to start coming back? Like Hayden Lomax was named in the program last week. Is he the only one that's going to come back in and out, or have you got a couple of other guys that are designated to the Butchers?
I think it's only Hayden.
Yep.
I didn't even know we had Hayden until when Hetty sort of rang the other week. I knew that he'd played sort of 16s and 18s at Thurrool, but I wasn't sure if he was still allocated to us. And then we got obviously Ethan George and Ben Fulton out of the under-20s. Yep. The fleet will come back. But as far as the reserve grade guys go in town, I think it's only Hayden.
Yep. Yeah. You touched on that
Shoppy
20. Yeah, where does Shoppy fit
as
in?
well. Yeah, Shoppy's in the under-20 squad now. Yeah. So he'll be like Ben and Ethan, I guess. If he doesn't play, he'll come back to Thurrool.
Does Shoppy go into the 18s, or is he? I'm looking at this first grade spot, and it's going to be hard to knock any of them out. Is he? He's still eligible for the 18s. Does he go to the 18s?
He probably will for the first bit in there. He's playing better than the guys.
Yep.
he'll be picked. But
Might be on the bench after 60.
It's important for their 18s. Like 18s, is you only get one crack at playing, or you get 2 cracks, don't you?
Yep.
You want to try to play in your age group as much as you can, even though I know Aaron's aspirational and wants to play higher. But
he's capable. That first grade we sent last year, but
easily,
yeah. Tell you what, Munga must be chomping at the bit, knowing that he's got him at the disposal.
Some side, won't it?
What about your future, Jacko? We spoke about this with Paul last week, and he said the job's yours as long as you want it. Are you sticking around?
Oh, I'd love to, yeah. As long as the committee happy.
That's a yes.
I really enjoy it. I love the club, and as far as coaching goes, I've never really wanted to do anything else except coach. For also, as long as they sort of want to have me and I feel like I'm contributing, I'd love to do it again. Yeah.
I think you're the right person for the club going forward.
We've touched on it a few times. You know, I think it's good. You've seen Phil Oswald leave through that dynasty back then. I think you're going to do this for the next few years with this team because it just seems to be there's young guys coming through that are going to stick around for 10 years, and you know, why upset the apple cart when it's going so well?
That's it. Yeah, I agree. Anyway, mate, thanks for coming. Appreciate your time. Good luck Saturday.
See you on Saturday, mate.
Voice of Gibson Park.
Yeah. What's it like being here at 1 o'clock, not being on a Mad Monday in Drylands? You'll be in better condition now than Mad Monday.
I don't go that hard on Mad Monday anymore.
Thanks, Jacko. Appreciate his time coming down and have a chat. So you've heard from the president last week and now the coach. So get down to Gibson Park this Saturday and support Jacko and the boys. Hopefully there'll be a big crowd there and they can get away with a win and get on top of the table as well as the club championships, isn't it?
Yeah, pending bad weather, they should really get a huge crowd there this Saturday. It's what it's built up to be. It's last year's grand final rematch. Both teams are top of the table. As you said, club championships is up for grabs. Thurrool win this one, they'll more than likely go in front on that. So we'll get down to Gibson Park Saturday. It's going to be one big game. Like we were talking about it last week down at the Western Corrimal game on Bar TV, me and Miss Jennings, just how big this. We took the focus off that game last week and already put it towards this week because it's just going to be huge.
This could secure a second spot if they can win it.
One of these teams run 1 and 2. They have to.
And Collies is obviously the other danger to that. All right, let's review last week's game. Thurrool played Helensburgh and beat them 50-10.
Look,
what did you see?
Yeah, well, apart from a walk in the park for the Butchers, look, they were good. The Berg, I think they're in a bit of trouble. They just can't seem to find the try line at the moment. Very leaky in defence, and Thurrool took full advantage of that. Look, on the back end of those forwards, again, Jake Walsh was just absolutely outstanding. 3 tries to himself and a couple of try assists.
And his running game, as you said, it's really sort of come on.
You know, we spoke about with Jacko only moments ago how good he is actually going this year. And look, I'll make a bold call early. He's my favourite for the Paul McGregor medal at the end of the year, just the way he's going. There's a lot of good players in this Thurrool side, but he just has stepped it up a notch again this year.
He's definitely playing good, and then he's got the kicking.
Yeah, he's doing. Look, Gal's not getting the gig back.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he is. Look, yeah, probably that week off the other week's cost Gal his kicking duties because Walshy's been absolutely spot on since. They were just really, really good, the Butchers. Jacko got to interchange a lot of his players there. He used his bench very, very wisely, and he gave a couple of guys like Joel Johnson and also Big Ciro a couple of minutes there on the bench, which allowed guys to come on the field. Cooper Purcell and play. Connor Mulheason and also Jack Noble was used a lot. Dodgy was used a fair bit, so you know it's good to see the rotation of these players.
I know we talk about Ciro and Jake Gallagher and Jono and that, but I thought Jack Noble played pretty good, and I also thought Tommy Simpson off the wing. You know, he's running really hard, making good yards and stuff like that. So I thought them two sort of stood out to me, as well as Rusco, who played like 40-odd minutes. Yeah.
Rusco's
fella off the bench.
Rusco's getting better with age. He's the evergreen. He just keeps going and going. The older he's getting, the better he goes. You got to remember, a few years ago, Rusco was on the picket swing. Now he's in the middle of the field and he's absolutely dominating. Absolutely dominating up the middle. No. Tommy Simpson making sensational yards from his kick returns at the moment and getting through on the front foot.
Yeah, he really
I bumped into him walking into the Steelers game the other day, pestering some female. I don't know how he ended up. We'll have to get told that on Saturday after the game.
Just check his social media, Instagram story, you'll see him.
But look, yeah, he's been really, really good, Tommy Simpson, bringing that ball back. So he just gets through on the front foot so often. And Jack Noble, he just does the job without credit, really. You don't hear many people talk about or give him the huge raps, but those little things he does it very, very well. And look, you got to remember, Jack had a year off last year. Jack went travelling for a year, and prior to that, he was in the 20 system up with the Roosters. He's had a bit of a go out at Newtown, a Thurl Junior. So he's seen a lot of football. And look, to come back after that year off of travelling, he's really hit the off-season very, very well. And it's starting to show on the paddock.
He's a quiet achiever, Jack Noble. Just goes about his business.
Yeah, he sure does. Yep.
I'd be wanting to get off that field too. If I'd be putting Siro and that, probably put their hand up. It's terrible at the moment. Too much traffic. And the Berg was just, I guess they're rebuilding as well.
Yeah, they are. They've still got some good names in there. You know, they've still got Lachlan Peachy. You've got Kurt Atkinson, who's played up in that Ron Massey Cup system. Players like that, but. Look, Gav Lennon's got a tough job up there at the moment. It's not going to happen overnight. Look, we've seen how good Helensburgh have been over the last few years. It goes around with every club, doesn't it? It just goes around in that big circle. It's the Berg's turn at the moment to rebuild. And let's hope they come out the other end, both clubs, because, you know, we are only down to, what are we down to, 7 teams in the competition. We don't want to go down to 6 or 5 or anything like that. So you need these littler clubs to be viable.
Yeah, Thurl seems to be able to compete with the big clubs.
Yeah, it's just the culture.
Year in, year out, yeah.
It's that culture. You draw 1 or 2 players from outside the area and they stick.
Yeah,
said it last year. You look at, you know, a couple of guys down from Cronulla. They've come down there. They haven't left, have they? They like the culture. They like the atmosphere down here, and I think that's what Thurl's built on the back end of that.
Righto, the big top of the table clash with West at Gibson Park this Saturday. Johnny, how are we going to do?
Look, it's the grand final rematch. It is going to be absolutely massive. Like if you are a Thurl supporter, get down there on Saturday to Gibson Park, because the Butchers are going to need everyone on that hill wearing that blue and white and really supporting them. Because look, I called the game last week. Bar TV, Wests v Corrimal. I know it was a bit of a landslide too, Western Suburbs, but they were very, very impressive. They've got speed to burn out wide. You've got Tony Pello, Colby Pello, Mitch Porter in the centres, Zach Green and Justin Rodriguez in the halves. They've got a big forward pack, Marty Cramp, Will Tamari, that just go forward all day. And they're going to be tough to stop. But I think if you look on the Thurl's team sheet, I think they got the players and the cattle to match it this Saturday. Look, it's going to be one of those games. It really is. It's going to go down the whole 80 minutes, and there's only going to be 2 points in it. I'll go the early crow, but look, yeah, this is going to be the grand final at the end of the year. I tend to feel these two sides, and this will go a long way of giving whoever wins confidence, knowing they've got one up on them.
Because Thurl will play both Collies and West away.
Yep. After this,
and that's probably going to be their biggest test. I'm saying West at Parish Park will be their biggest test next round.
Yep.
Who are we going to watch out for in West? I know you named a few, but who's your number one?
They're going to have Kieran Rankmore come into their side this week. He's been playing with Warilla down to Group 7. He got a transfer last week and he played reserve grade for Wests. So obviously he'll probably jump up into first grade. But he was one of the standouts in the grand final last year for West, Rankmore. But look, Zach Blay's been good up front. Marty Cramp's been good. Will Tamari, it's the first year I've seen him play, and he's been absolutely sensational for West. But look, Zach Green's kicking game is going to be a feature. So Tommy Simpson, Hayden Crosland, and Blake Higgins, they're going to have to, if we get that bit of a onshore breeze down there at Thurl, this ball could just swirl around anywhere off the back end of his good kicking game. But look, it's matched up all over the paddock. You've put 2 team sheets together, you don't know which way to go. Honestly, it's like for like. You got Justin Rodriguez with the 7 for West, Jake Walsh with Thurl. I'll probably give a tick to Walshy. But it's those matchups all over the field.
If they can get that pressure on Zach Green, he sort of buckled a bit in the grand final last year. I mean, he kicked the ball out twice from general play, and that got Thurl pretty much back into the game.
Yeah, well, he was really good in that first half of the grand final, and then in the second half, he was absolutely terrible. I think he'd admit it to his own standard.
You reckon Jacko's had a look at that?
Well, Jacko said it before that he's got 2 of the best kick pressure players in the game in Sironen and Gallagher. So I expect the absolute treatment onto Zach Green and Justin Rodriguez this weekend from them 2 men.
Yeah, just looking at West's previous games. They had the bye first round. Beat the Berg 26-14. Beat Berkeley 40-4. And then there was the Collies game, which they won by 11-10. And then last week, 60-4.
Yeah.
So they got points in them.
That game against Collies, they weren't at their best that day, Wests. They got an intercept try. They also got a try off the length of the field from a drop ball. So, look, that's why I'm steering towards the rule. None of their wins at the moment have been, too much really good luck. They've really that first game against Collies, they grinded that out to a win. They really did. They missed the jump and they come back and grinded away. The other scores, the Butchers, look, they've been landslides.
Yeah, it's not really a competition.
No,
really,
this is their biggest test of the year since round one. Round one was a test. This is going to be even bigger.
Are we going to have a few points scored, or is this going to be really?
This
tight?
is going to this will be
11-10.
There'll be less than 20 scored in this one.
Yeah, right. Well, there you've heard it. Get down.
What are
Saturday.
your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I've given the.
Cyril's pack. It's just outstanding.
Yep.
Again, I was watching the replay of the game. They make 20 metres every run.
Yep.
And I thought Luke Gall played pretty good.
Yeah,
too,
he was
as
enormous.
Well.
Really good.
And he started.
Yep.
So he played well, but and then there was like a 50-metre try by Jay Gallagher and fended off people left, right, and centre and stuff like that. And then Jacko rolls the bench on there, and nothing changes.
I think
Walshy just works off this big back.
Yeah, and
pack.
When you're interchanging Damian Sironen, Joel Ruskin, with the likes of Jack Noble, Luke Dodge, it's a great interchange, isn't it? Yeah. I think that's where Thurul's strength is going to lie. Is their bench, I feel, is a lot stronger than what West is.
And plus, Jacko also said there's players that he could put in there.
From the reserve grade side.
Didn't play last week, I don't think.
Let's hope Cooper comes back this week and plays. I think he's been out with a little bit of a twinge.
Yeah, I think he hurt his knee in the Dapto game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big game, but I'm also biased too, so through a win.
What's your margin?
I don't care. It's red scum. All right, so that's that. Saturday, Gibson Park, get down there. I'm sure there'll be a stack of old boys over there. There's been two good crowds for the first home games, so probably a little bit colder, so take your warm stuff.
Take the stubby holder.
Yep. Bit of club news now. There's a luncheon coming up. It's on Friday the 28th of June, so save that date. More details are to come. Membership that we've been pushing a bit here, they've hit 51. Now, whoever hasn't paid needs to see more go and pay up. Now, I spoke to you the other week about girls' participation.
Yep.
I've done a bit of research. There's 10 teams in 4 age groups of league tag, plus the open. Plus the open. So you got under 10s, there's 3 teams. Under 12s, there's 3 teams. 14s have 2, 16s have 2, and then there's the opens. That's a stack of kids.
Huge. And all that traffic on Gibson Park, they're playing Friday afternoons.
Yeah.
4 o'clock last Friday afternoon, they started playing the junior league tag there, just so they can get a game in, because we know how busy Gibson Park gets on a Saturday. It starts at 8:30 in the morning and sometimes rolls around all afternoon. So
Gibson Park will be dirt soon.
Yeah.
If not already.
There's massive rumour that's going to get watered down tonight, I'm hearing. So
weather. What else have we got? Now, we spoke last week about the boys on the hill that run out of beer, and either Morgo or our president, Paul Eyre, runs out. So we've got a bit of footage to show you this week, so we'll put that up. Check that out. And we've also had our first entry, the Damian Sironen competition, the European Statue. So we'll throw that photo up for you to have a look at too.
Beefy get his prize.
I can't reveal where it came from. See us on Saturday. We'll have something for you. Johnny, what about you? What are you up to this weekend?
Doing the Taste of Steel podcast tomorrow with Mitch Jennings. That'll go up on the Mercury website Friday.
And on Butchers.
And
we'll put it
on
up
Butchers
on the
website. Got the live stream game for Bar TV, Thurul v West, this Saturday. Looking forward to that one. It's been a while.
Beer Baron.
Been a while since I had one, but look... still an issue with the programs as well.
Don't worry, the Beer Baron has been sent an email for a request to come on here.
He's also been absolutely peppered on Twitter and social media about it. Still no reply, so Chris Bannerman, something.
Come on, Chris.
Something.
At least send us something.
A printable,
smiley face.
a printable
something.
version would be all right, wouldn't it?
That's
something.
It. Yeah, come on, Chris.
Something.
I better get a reply to the email too. And as usual, the old boys raffles on Sunday. Beaches, get down there.
Whose turn is it this week?
Probably Jason, but he didn't turn up.
Didn't turn up
last week. I think Sedgy did it by himself. I don't know. Might be Fuad, the Prince. He'll be out there. Saturday night, get back here to the Ryans after the game.
There should be a big crowd back here Saturday night after the game. And after there'll be a huge crowd over there, pending weather. But I think the boys will really be keen to turn one on if they win this weekend. Because they play Berkeley next week and then
I think that's away.
And then there's a long weekend. So they got the week off. Would that be right?
It probably is.
Yep.
There hasn't been a wet weather round yet.
And then we start all over again.
Round 2.
So it's nearly halfway through the competition already, and then we're talking semi-finals less than 8 weeks away.
Yeah. Well, so we want to see your faces at Gibbo Park Saturday, and then back here at the Ryans. All right, that's about it for this week. Talk to you all next week.